Alright, so today we're going to learn about mean absolute deviation. This is just a picture of, if I zoom in a little bit more, of your book. It might be really good to read through these pages and what mean absolute deviation is. It is how far each of your data points differs from the mean. So there are following steps to find mean absolute deviation. In math we call it short for MAD. MAD is short for mean absolute deviation. So step 1, you find the mean. Step 2, find the distance between the data points and the mean, so the deviation. Find the sums of all the distances and divide by how many numbers you have. So really what it is, mean. So your steps are find the mean, find the difference or the distance between the data value or the mean, and find the mean again. So you have 3 steps. So I'm going to do 2 examples for you. So here's the first one. We're going to find mean absolute deviation together. You record the number of raisins in 8 scoops of cereal. Find and interpret the mean absolute deviation of the data. So it might be best for you to kind of make let's say like a T-chart. So yeah, I'm going to use my typer. So you have data. Make it a little smaller. Let's say your mean and your differences. Okay, so your data numbers are 1, 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4, 5. Let's see if we can make that smaller. There we go. Alright, so you have your numbers listed. So you're going to find the mean of all your numbers. So I'm going to take 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, 2 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 5. I'm going to add them all up. So I have 4. And then you divide by how many numbers you have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8. So I'm going to take 24 and divide by 8. And that gets me my answer of 3. So that's my mean. So this is for your first step. Figure out what your mean is. So I'm going to write the mean for all these points. What you're going to do is you're going to take each of these data points and find the differences. So essentially you have how far away is 1 from 3? That's 2. If you essentially do 1 minus 3, which you can, and that is -2, you want to find the absolute value of -2. So your differences always want to be positive. So your distance from 2 to 3 is 1. Distance from 2 to 3 is 1. What is the difference in distance between 2 to 3? That's 1. Distance between 4 to 3, that's 1. Distance between 4 to 3 is 1. Distance between 4 to 3 is 1. And then distance between 4 to 3, or 5 to 3 is 2. So then you take all these differences that you have and find the mean of the differences. And that's your mean absolute deviation. Which would be 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2. sure I have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 2 more. So that is 10. And then divide by how many numbers you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 8. So 10 divided by 8, 1.25. That means your mean absolute deviation, so your MAD, your mean absolute deviation, is equal to 1.25. That means if you take the average of how far each of your scoops of cereal, number of raisins, is from your average number of raisins, they're about 1.25 away. So our original average was 3. So what's it saying is all of these scoops of cereal that contain, the first scoop contains 1 raisin, second scoop contains 2 raisins, third scoop contains 2 raisins, and so on. The average number of scoops of raisins is about 1.25 away from your average. So it's saying like 2 is about 1.25 raisins away from your average of 3. This 2 scoops that has 2 raisins is about 1.25 raisins away from your average of 3. This 4 is about 1.25 raisins away from your average of 3 raisins. This 5 is about 1.25 raisins away from your average of 3 raisins. That's what mean absolution does. Okay, so let's try another one. So find and interpret the mean absolute deviation of the data, okay? So first step is find the mean of your data. So I am going to add up all these numbers. So we have 5 plus 8 plus 8 plus 10 plus 13 plus 14 plus 16 plus 22. I'm going to add them all up. I got 96. So I got 96. Then divide by how many there are. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8. So 96 divided by 8, and we got 12. So your average of these numbers is 12. And then your next step is to take the differences. Okay, so your differences between 5 and 12. So your difference between, so like 5 to 12. So what's the difference between 5 to 12? So that's going to be 7. What's the difference between 5 to 8? So how far is 8 from 12? So that's 4. How far is, let's erase this. How far is 8 from 12? So that's another 4. How far is 10 to 12? What's the difference between 10 to 12? 2. What's the difference between 13 and 12? 1. What's the difference between 14 and 12? 2. What's the difference between 16 and 12? 4. What's the difference between 12 and 22? 10. So you find all the differences between all your data points and your mean, and then you find the mean of your differences. Okay, so then we have 7 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 10. And we add them all up, get 34. And then divide by how many numbers you have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So divide by 8, and you get 4 and 2/8, so 4.25. So that means that so like 16 is about 4.2 away from 12. 14 is about 4.2 away from 12. 10 is about 4.2 away from 12. 8 is about 4.2 points away from 12. So it's this average on the differences from the average. So So that's mean absolute deviation. So again, the steps you're going to take are, you can pause this anytime and try it and retry it again. The steps you're going to take is find the mean, find the distance between each data value and the mean, find the sums of those distances, and then divide by sum by how many total values that you have. So that's mean absolute deviation. You can continue watching this video and rewatch it and try it again, or watch the other videos that I have for you. Good luck this week. See you in class.